Hi everyone, it's Tamara here with another card making tutorial. This week I'm taking part in the current Lawn Fawn challenge, which is actually just about to finish. I'm running very behind, but I was inspired by creative underscore Kath Cohen, also known as Catherine, and her beautiful jam making card, which was a gorgeous kitchen scene with the mice making jam. So I've kind of mixed it up a little bit and I've got a nice kitchen scene using all the mice making pizzas and also a mouse delivering a pizza. So I hope you enjoy this card making tutorial. I'll be using multiple dies, stamp sets and some paper for my scene, starting off with the Magic Picture Changer Oven add-on. I don't use all the elements, but you get the general idea of the oven once I've got that assembled. Some of the creatures from So Very Mice and A Creature Was Stirring. Some of the pizza elements from Pizza My Heart. The blender from So Smooth. And a few of the elements from Baked with Love. I was going to use the paint splatter background stencil, but I don't end up using that. But I do use this paper for my floor from the Hello Sunshine Remix paper pack. I've grabbed out a piece of smooth white cardstock and I'm going to be just cutting that down to size so that I can cut out with my largest of my stitched rectangle slimline dies from Lawn Fawn to create my background. I always go a little bit larger and that way I can cut it down in the area that looks the best. So I'm just using a brick stencil and just going to be putting some small amounts of Distress Oxide Hickory Smoke in certain places. I'm not doing the whole wall, just in spots so that you just get a general idea that there is a brick wall behind my scene. I'm just sliding my, because my make art station's a smaller one, I'm just sliding my scene across and just adding the extra portions that I need. So we'll just set that aside to dry. I've grabbed out my Misti and some Copic Express It paper, which is perfect for Copic colouring. I've added all my images to the front of my Misti door and grabbed my Memento Tuxedo black ink to stamp out my images. Now with this one from the So Very Mice stamp set, I've just grabbed a baby wipe and I'm just wiping off the section off the top that I don't want stamped out for my image because I want it to look like he's just kind of getting that pizza base ready and rolling it out. So you can wipe it with the baby wipe like I did, or grab a piece of washi tape, mask off the section that you don't want stamped, and then we'll re-stamp our image back out. So get a good amount of ink over all my images. Make sure you take that washi tape out. I've done that before and forgotten and left it on. And now we've got the perfect pizza base. So to finish that off, I've grabbed my multi-liner pen, which is also Copic friendly, and I'm just going to finish off the edge of our pizza base. So now it looks like the perfect round pizza base. Now I'm going to pop some music on and speed up through some of the colouring. So if you do want to skip the colouring completely and just go to the card construction part, just go to the 10-minute mark and that way you can skip all the colouring. Otherwise, I'll put on some music now and I'll come back once we're ready to make our card. do apologise. I had actually missed showing some of the colouring, which I'd forgotten to press record when I was doing the pizza base and the pizza sauce in my smoothie. But you can see from my second coating of the pizza base with the red sauce, I use the same colours in my smoothie blender as well. And I thought my initial pizza tossing mouse had a bit of a dark pizza base, so I've actually coloured that again. Now I'm just using some washi tape to add all the dies to the images, and I've cut them out in my die cutting machine. Now with this one, because it had the little extra top for the portion that we didn't stamp out, I've just used my scissors to trim that off. And I want to actually stick the spoon in the bowl, so there is a coordinating die with the Baked with Love set so that you can actually cut a little opening in your bowl to have your spoon sticking in. So now my background panel is dried, I can grab out my stitched slimline rectangle die, and now I can choose exactly where I want that because I did do it a little bigger, as I said before. Now with our pattern paper, I want that to match in because it's going to be sitting directly down the bottom. So I've sliced off a portion and using my slimline die, that now matches perfectly in with our background panel. To create a bit of separation and a kind of bench for our appliances and mice to sit on, I've just grabbed a piece of smooth white cardstock, and I'm just cutting a 1/2 inch of white, and again I'm just going to grab out that die so that our stitching matches in perfectly again to our background panel. So I'm going to now glue our floor down to the base, and then we can stick our piece of white strip directly to our card base just above where our floor will sit. And then we've got our bench attached in there. So just a small amount of glue, we'll get that lined up with the floor, and that set that aside to dry. I'll be also using the square from the original Magic Picture Changer add-on, which I'll be cutting out in black cardstock, and then all the ones from the Magic Picture Changer oven add-on I'll be cutting out of some red cardstock just to add to the front of that black base. I don't end up using all of the elements that I cut out because they didn't quite fit with how I did this card, but I'm just going to attach the oven door kind of insert around that square from the Magic Picture Changer add-on, and then I'm not going to end up using those controls. I'll just add the oven door handle at the top, lining that up to the center, and the same with the kind of opening or grill section down the bottom, just centering that in the middle. I've grabbed out my Misti again and some smooth black cardstock, and I'll be using one of the sentiments from Pizza My Heart stamp set to stamp this out in white heat emboss. I've grabbed some anti-static powder tool to kind of prep my black cardstock, and my Versamark watermark ink to stamp out my sentiment. Then with my folded A4 piece of printer paper and my white embossing powder, I just add that, and then I can just fold that paper in half to get all my excess powder back into my container. I've preheated my heat gun. I always go to the back first, and that way it gets rid of any kind of particles that might come off your heating when you heat emboss. And I've now heat embossed our sentiment. I always wipe off the excess anti-static powder tool with a microfiber cloth, and using one of these banners from Lawn Fawn, I'm just going to cut this to size. So I've cut one end to the size that I want, then matching the same end amount, now we have our perfect size sentiment strip. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to our spoon so that that's locked in place in our bowl. Set that aside to dry, and we want to add the pizza to our little mouse so that he's kind of holding that pizza box ready to go off for a delivery. Now with our pizza oven, I want our pizza kind of to be sitting behind it, so I'm going to kind of start laying out where I want all my elements. Some of my elements I'll be just gluing directly to the cardstock, and then I'll be adding some foam tape to some of the other elements to sit kind of over the top of those. So with the little mouse and also the flower, I'm going to put some foam tape on those to kind of sit them up above the images that are going to be behind. So this little mouse is going to be stirring getting the flour ready to make the dough. And we've got our flour just sitting kind of over our mixer. Our sentiment, I've kind of lined up to where I'm wanting that because I'm going to have some elements over the top. So I'm just going to line that up on the base, making sure that I'm putting it in the right spot and none of my elements will be sitting over the actual sentiment. My little mouse that's going to be tossing up the dough, getting ready, I'm going to have him directly down, but with my dough I'm going to have some foam tape on the back so it looks like it's getting tossed up in the air. So we'll add some glue to our little pizza throwing mouse down the bottom. He's getting that pizza base to size. And then we've got our pizza sauce getting prepped by the chef with his little chef hat on. So we'll attach the blender directly to the cardstock. Now because it's a little bit tall, I've just kind of moved it a little bit further down on that bench. And we'll add a bit of foam tape to our little chef down the bottom. And he's going to be looking like he's pressing that control for the blender to get that sauce ready. So now I've got my pizza ready to go behind my pizza oven. So it's getting cooked just before it gets delivered. So we'll get that stuck down and we'll also just glue the oven directly to our card base as well. So we just want to line that up with the top of our cardstock. So it does come down a little bit further, but you know, most pizza ovens are quite big. So we'll add some more foam tape to our final elements. So we've got the mouse ready to take the pizza out of the oven with his little gloves on, and we've got our little mouse with his pizza setting off to do a delivery. So off he goes with his pizza, and then with our pizza cutter we'll just glue that directly to the side. I've already pre-cut and scored my card base, and I'll have all the measurements in the description box below, but I did have some other elements that I had coloured that I thought I may as well use and put on the inside of my card. So I've stamped another sentiment from the Pizza My Heart stamp set, and just using these extra items that you've coloured, I'm just adding that to the inside of my card just to add an extra something. And this is the finished card project for this tutorial. I wanted to thank Catherine so much for making her beautiful cards. She is always an inspiration for me. I just love how she uses different things to create something that's completely different from what the initial image was meant to be. It always makes me feel so inspired whenever I see one of her cards. I want to thank you so much for watching. I've had so much fun making this card, and I hope you've enjoyed watching it as well. If you have, please hit the like button and leave a comment. And if you'd like to see any future videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.